Hi, my name is Heather Feather. I am the owner of Rare Bird Medicine, and today I wanted to talk about the thought product. What do thoughts produce? I'm wearing a thought-based shirt that used to be one of my favorite alien midriff shirts, but it's become like my all-time favorite COVID shirt. I need some space. Get away from me. Snickle Fritz over there, cougher. You with your nose out of your mask. Beat it. Just like, those thoughts are available everywhere. We can definitely pick those up, and I have them myself sometimes. I'm like, go to another aisle. I don't know what you're doing over there with your nose out of your mask, like, ugh. So, I'm like sharing a thought today with my shirt. But there are these thoughts that we think, and what you think about, you feel about. The product of thought, the result, the offering that thought naturally extends into is emotion or feeling. What naturally is going to follow your thinking is your feeling. Thoughts are a tricky subject because most of us are relatively intelligent. We use our thinking all the time. We use it for problem solving. We see it as a way that we derive solutions. However, thoughts can also go into potential futures that don't exist. And when our thoughts do that and they go into a potential future that doesn't exist, like I could lose my job, or the medical report might come back negative, or something good might be around the corner for me, or any of that. My friend might betray me, like any type of negative thought. When we're thinking in mights and what ifs and assuming if this then that, if we're doing that type of thinking, and I do a lot of if this then that because I like to solve, I like to use my mind, like many of you no doubt. And so then what happens is we start thinking about potentials that aren't present, and then we can get into anxiety and worry and emotional states that are unwarranted because a lot of the times whatever we're worrying about is not what actually manifests. It was a potentiality. Let's say it has 18% potentiality of manifestation, and we want to consider it. But in the considering of it, we're changing our frequency and our point of focus to one of stress, anxiety, negative feelings, fear, false evidence appearing real. So, it can put us in a negative emotional state. So one of the things I've done with my thoughts as I've aged and have started to consider the topic more, I was talking to a new friend that I very much appreciate last night about this, and it's like one of the things that I think helps is to recognize when I'm having worry thoughts. Oh, what if the result of the test is negative? What if what if it's not a result I want? What if I'm about to lose my job? What if blah 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 blah. So then I'll think, is that happening right now? Like right now, is that happening? What if I can't pay this bill? What if I can't, la la la. Is it happening now? And if the answer is no, I tell myself, you're welcome to be stressed about that, Heather, but not until it's manifested. Let's not just be negative because this thing wants to go, blah, 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 blah. Here's all the potentials. Let's worry about stuff. So there's that. There's also an aspect of thought aside from imagine potentialities, imagine futures, imagine reasons we should be stressing out. There is a quality of thought that is a lie. And I'm somebody who deeply loves the truth and am a huge advocate of it, and am always reaching and digging in deeper and trying to discern more and more what that is. What is truth? I mean, there's layers to that onion. I've been peeling at that one for a long time. There are layers because there's so many. There's like individual truth, there's universal truth, there's also the truth you're able to understand based on where you are. And for you, that may be your truth, but it might not be the truth for someone that has developed further understanding. So it's a little bit of a tricky topic. But here's what I do know. As much as I love truth, as much as potentially you love truth, I've lied to myself and you've lied to yourself. And some of our thoughts are lies. Let me give you some examples. I'm ugly, or I'm just like so plain Jane, or I'm just, not very handsome, or I'm lazy, or I'm stupid, or I'm weak, or I'm not good enough. Not good enough is like one of the most foundationally popular thoughts for all two-leggeds to have. Not good enough, not worthy. Um, that's not true. Like, what? Like, that's not true. Why? Like, you don't look at a bird and go like, you're not worthy, you're not good enough, bird. And this flower, not worthy, not good enough. We don't do that with any other aspect of life, but then we can do that with ourselves. And it's a false thought. It's not a true thought. You're not like, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and there are so many variations on what beauty is. And with 7.9 billion people, you are very beautiful, very handsome to some of the creatures in this plane. So why not also be beautiful and handsome to yourself? Why not also see the uniqueness in your own beauty and the uniqueness in your own body, and consider why your body is beautiful, is handsome, is wonderful, in exactly the form it is right now, finding a way to love it right here, right now. So one of the aspects of thought is it can engender false feelings because they are false thoughts. So if you're thinking you're worthless, you don't matter, nobody hears you, blah, 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 then that's silly, because you have no idea how many people you've spoken to in your life that somewhere in their future thinks of you, remembers a conversation, thinks of something you said, and yet you may be over here like, nobody understands me, nobody hears me, nobody's ever feeling me. But yet, in another state, someone you talked to 10 years ago is remembering a conversation they had with you that they were profoundly affected by, and you don't even know the ripple effect that you have. You have an influence. The concept of an influencer, like on social media, is a little ridiculous to me, because every two-legged is an influencer. You have an influence. You have a space-time area that you take up and that you express into and that you engage with, and that has an influence. And what you choose has an influence. And so we are all influencers. We all are important. We are all shaking the web of life with every little thing we're thinking and doing and being. So because feelings are the result of, or the product, feelings stem from thoughts. And because I've spent much of my life severely depressed, with really dark thoughts about my actual experiences, which were very dark, just lowest level stuff that a two-legged can hand to you, and other components of that, like lots of death, lots of car accidents, lots of things that can get you in a PTSD or trauma state, among other experiences. All of that kind of led me, as I would ruminate on my life experience, to just go really dark and just get really mired inside of myself, and just like, this ball of darkness I have to walk around with. What am I supposed to do with this ball of darkness? Well, here's an idea. How about dump it out? Put your face on like the clouds, let the sun shine down on it. Chin up, kiddo. Like, lift up, rise up. Because whatever I've experienced cannot be erased. It's done. What's done is done. The way two-leggeds have chosen to engage with me that is trauma-based, it's done. The end. The car accidents I've gotten in that are trauma-based, done. The people that died, dead. Still dead. So, I talk to them in spirit now because I'm a psychopomp. That's part of my job, is connecting the dead to the living. Thank God I've chosen this intuitive work, because I get to stay so connected to things that could feel much more deeply like a loss at this juncture in my life. All that being said, ultimately, what you think about, you feel about. Here's a question. How do you feel? How have you been feeling? How do you feel about life? If the answer is not good, or anxious, or really afraid or super concerned or terrified or any of this, I would ask you, what have you been thinking about? What have you been thinking about? One thing that we can all be certain of is that we are providing most of the content for our consciousness. We're choosing the music, we're choosing the television or movie programming that we witness, we're choosing the social media or the not, we're choosing to be in nature or not, we are choosing to sit in meditation or not, we are choosing to listen to XYZ person or not, you know. So most of the content we receive, we are actually the active chooser of that content. I would say that there are certain experiences we are handed, a large majority of them in our childhood, that are just like the experiences we're taking in, that are going to give us the pattern we're going to run as a two-legged, that's going to develop our personality matrix and eventually cause us to become who we came to be in response to the all that is. So could not be on the shamanic path or do psychopomp work without having just spent my entire life since birth burying two-leggeds and animals and just nearly everything in the freaking cosmos, it feels like sometimes. I've always just said, like, should have been an undertaker. Like, yeah, another one's dead, bring him on down. So, like, there's a point at which you have enough experience with something. The thought around death used to cause a lot of severe depression with me. Losing 50 people and being 45, other than like the Dalai Lama or veterans of war, I don't meet a lot of people that have lost the equivalent of one person for every year of their life. It's actually almost never happens. My sister's one of the few people I know that's had as much death as I've had. And it caused a lot of depression. And I started thinking about death differently. I started thinking about my third eye and my psychic capacities differently. I started thinking about the propensity I might have to commune with the dead differently. And today I work as a psychopomp. I work connecting more or communicating more with the dead. And that new way of thinking, that new information I exposed myself to, has absolutely, completely, and permanently changed my relationship with death. Death is now an ancient friend. I freaking love Hades. And Hades loves, I'm just like, honey, you're always touching everything. You're so handsy. Hades is like, dad, 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 dad. And it's going to touch us all, you know. And so often when I go on a hike, Hades is like, Dad, look, I killed that. I'm like, yes, honey, I know. You like touching stuff. But it doesn't, it's death actually leads to a lot more positive feelings today that you would think, like, how could you have positive feelings? You get enough experience. You listen to something at the volume of 100 and eventually you get used to the sound. You can even learn to appreciate it. So what I would say is it's really important to consistently check in and evaluate how you feel. The teachings of Abraham, Esther Hicks, she's a great teacher about feeling and frequency. Bashar is someone else you can look up on YouTube that will talk about this. Like, do the next thing that feels good. Do the next thing that feels good. Do the next thing that feels good. You know, and if you're like, well, I have to pay my bills, that doesn't feel good. Okay, stop thinking that. Ooh, I'm so grateful I have the money to pay my bills. That feels good. It's a way better thought than like, ooh, I have to pay bills. It's like, yeah, yeah, and you're able to do it. You don't live under a bridge. Congratulations. So every topic, you have the ability and the opportunity to reframe that topic in a way that elucidates within your vessel feelings that enliven and vibrate with a resonance that is more enjoyable for an existence. I think it's really important that we all be critical thinkers. A lot of the current normative social media, telephone in hand, internet right around the corner for us to touch and type into paradigm is actually collapsing the number of people that are being critical thinkers here. And in order to be a critical thinker, instead of just exposing and consuming and exposing and consuming, we get to stop and go, wait, am I feeling good? Do I feel good? Does it feel good? Is it feeling good? Does it feel good to be me? Oh, let's see, what was I thinking? From my home to yours, may you have beautiful, illuminating, joyous thoughts. Blessed be.